Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're exploring a really straightforward way to think about reaching your goals. And what's interesting is where it comes from. A gym chalk talk,
Yeah,
believe it or not.
exactly. We've been looking at this shock talk on 3Ds in gym by Coach Dane Deutsch. Now, okay, he was talking to young gymnasts, getting ready for their trick season.
Right.
But the core ideas, they have, well, much broader applications for anyone, really, whatever your ambitions are, far beyond gymnastics.
Absolutely. So our mission for you today is to kind of pull out the key lessons from Coach Dane's talk and see how these 3Ds can actually work for your goals, whatever field you're in. It's not just about like physical skills. It's more about a mindset for success anywhere in life.
Right.
Okay, so let's jump in. What exactly are these 3Ds?
Yeah, Coach Dane lays them out pretty clearly. First up is dream. And he right away says, this means visualize.
Okay. Visualize.
It's about getting a really clear picture in your head of what you want to achieve. For his gymnasts, that meant, picturing next year's routines, the tricks they wanted to nail, the strength they wanted.
So not just a vague wish then.
No, exactly. He's saying vague wishes just don't cut it. You need that, sharp mental image. That's the starting point.
Right. A clear target in the future, something you can almost, see happening.
Good.
Got it. And the second D.
The second one is desire. And he's quite specific here. This isn't physical hunger.
Okay.
It's about building up this really strong internal drive, like a real passion for that dream you visualized. He actually talks about needing to, quote, stoke up the desire.
Stoke up the desire like fanning a flame.
Yeah, exactly. Having that intense internal fire pushing you. It's all about intrinsic motivation, right? That drive from within is way more powerful and lasts longer than just, outside pressure.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's the difference between just kind of wanting something and really, really yearning for it, that internal engine.
Mm-hmm. That deep yearning.
Okay, so dream is visualizing, desire is that deep hunger, and the third D, I'm guessing that's about, well, actually doing something.
You got it. The third is do, the action phase. But here's the crucial part Coach Dane emphasizes. They're all connected.
How so?
Well, you can have a dream, but if you haven't really visualized it clearly, the desire and the doing, they won't properly take root.
Okay.
And you can have that vision, but without the desire, that hunger, you just won't feel motivated enough to actually do anything about it.
Right.
And maybe the most important point he makes, if you just do things without a clear dream or that strong desire, you're probably just, in his words, running around in circles.
Action without purpose,
Yeah.
aimless effort versus focused steps.
Exactly. So you've got the what, the dream, the why, the desire, and then do is the how. And the strength of your why, your desire, directly impacts how willing you are to figure out the how and actually do it.
Okay, that really clarifies how they build on each other. Dream, desire, do, visualize, be hungry, take action. It sounds simple, but Coach Dane shared a pretty powerful personal story about using this himself. Let's get into that.
Yeah, he really did. He uses his own life founding the gym as a prime example.
Yeah.
He talks about how 35 years ago, while he and his wife Kathy were living in Turkey, they first visualized their big dream.
In Turkey? Wow.
Yeah. The dream was to open their own gymnastics gym. And he mentions, that June 1st is coming up, and that'll mark their 36th year in that same location.
36 years. That's incredible. Talk about long-term vision paying off.
It really is a testament to it. And the key takeaway, especially from the start, is that even with basically zero resources, that strong vision and the intense desire made the action possible.
And it wasn't easy when they came back to the U.S., was it? They didn't just walk into setting up a gym.
No, not at all. He's very clear about it. They came back with, and I quote, no money, no house, nothing.
Wow. Nothing.
Nothing. They'd used up their resources just getting back. So this is where that second D, desire, really had to kick in. He said they had to be hungry.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Facing that kind of situation, that hunger, that desire, it must have been a massive driving force.
Absolutely. It wasn't just a nice-to-have dream. It felt like a necessity for them.
Yeah.
And so the third D, the do, naturally followed from that intensity.
They took the leap.
They did. They took action, started the gym. He acknowledges there was a risk of failure, but they saw the opportunity too.
And clearly, it worked out.
Yeah, after 35, now almost 36 years, he considers it a success. But what's really interesting is how he defines that success. It's not just about, making a living.
What else?
He talks about the significance of it, the value they've been able to add to the lives of thousands of kids and families over the decades.
So the dream included more than just personal gain. It was about impact, too.
Exactly. That adds another layer, doesn't it? The initial dream in Turkey, The intense desire born from having nothing, and then decades of consistent action building something significant.
It's a fantastic illustration of the 3Ds in practice. Now, he was talking to gymnasts, but he made a point about applying to adults too, right?
Yes, absolutely. And this is where it gets maybe even more relevant for you listening. Coach Dane directly contrasts his approach, this intentional dream, desire, do, with how he sees most people, even adults, living.
What's the contrast?
He suggests many adults are just sort of plodding through life, that's his phrase, without any real compelling dreams guiding them, just focused on getting through the day, the week.
Oof, plodding through life. That's quite an image, a bit stark maybe, but it does make you think, doesn't it?
It really does. How many of us, get caught in routines without really stepping back to think about the bigger picture, about what we genuinely want to build or achieve long term? So Coach Dane basically presents these 3Ds as a more conscious, potentially more fulfilling way to approach life. And even though the setting was a gym, he frames the principles as fundamental, applicable to any goal. His own story of starting the business is the proof for adults.
Right. It's not just for athletes aiming for a specific skill.
Yeah.
It worked for starting a business from scratch, which is a huge undertaking many adults can relate to or aspire to.
Precisely. It's a universal framework.
So the challenge then, for you listening, is to maybe take a moment and reflect. What are your next year goals? Or even 5-year goals? Could be work, personal life, creative projects, anything.
Yeah. And thinking about those goals, how could you maybe deliberately stoke up the desire for them? What gives them meaning for you? What makes you hungry for them?
And then crucially, what are the actual do steps? What concrete actions, even small ones, can you identify and start taking?
It brings up a good question, doesn't it? How often do we really give ourselves permission to dream big, to visualize something we truly desire?
And then connect that vision to a real hunger that fuels consistent action.
Coach Dane's simple framework, born from a gym chalk talk, is actually a pretty profound reminder of those fundamental building blocks for achieving pretty much anything significant.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. Our deep dive into Coach Dane Deutsch's Chalk Talk on 3Ds really gives us this clear, powerful approach. Dream, get that sharp visual. Desire, cultivate that intense inner drive. Be hungry, and do take focused, consistent action.
And his own story, building that gym from a dream formed years ago in Turkey with absolutely nothing to start with back home, it just powerfully shows how these three things have to work together.
Yeah, the simplicity is kind of deceptive, isn't it?
Yeah.
It sounds basic, but the potential impact when you actually apply it seems huge.
It really does. It's an encouragement to move beyond just, going through the motions and to actively try and shape your future using vision, passion, and deliberate effort.
So on that note, here's a final thought for you to mull over. Think about any dreams you might have dismissed. Maybe ones you told yourself were too big, too unrealistic, just not possible. How might things change if you consciously applied these elements? If you really let yourself visualize it, then work to build that genuine desire, that hunger for it, and let that fuel your actions. Could it change what you believe is actually possible for you?
And maybe even simpler. What's just one small, concrete step, something you could do today towards one of those dreams you've been holding on to?
Something to think about. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.